The election for the 16th ROC President, Vice President, and 11th Legislative Yuan will be held on January 13, 2024, with an estimated 19.5 million voters. Some scholars studying the CCP's information and cognitive warfare have warned that the CCP could play a role in the outcome of the election by influencing as little as 3% of the vote, or about 500,000 votes. China's economy is rapidly sliding into recession, the political situation is unstable, and the people are looking for change, all of which are signs that the CCP is on the verge of disintegration. Perhaps this is the last chance for the CCP. Red China and Taiwan seem to be in a race. This is an election that will determine whether Taiwan will fall or not. In this final battle, what are the CCP's infiltration techniques? Will Taiwan be able to defend itself? This episode explores these topics. First of all, let's briefly introduce the three color-coded camps in the Taiwan election. Currently, the top-ranked candidate in the polls is CHING-TE. He belongs to the Green Camp DPP and is the Vice President of the Republic of China, or ROC. The DPP is one of Beijing's most hated political parties because of its strong anti-CCP stance. The Green Camp candidate incumbent Vice President Lai is currently leading in the polls. In the opposition is the Blue Camp candidate Hou You-yi of the KMT, Taiwan's centuries-old party, who has a long background in police affairs and whom we call Sheriff Hou. In recent years, the White Camp Taiwan People's Party Kerwin-je has risen to prominence. Before he entered politics, he was a doctor or Dr. Kerr. Simply put, Sheriff Hou and Dr. Kerr's stance is pro-China, and their basic argument is that they are better at communicating with Beijing and building a relationship of mutual trust. If they win the election, the CCP will not attack Taiwan. Therefore, they can bring or maintain cross-strait peace. Here was the first political meeting of the three presidential candidates in Taiwan on December 20th, 2023. In the eyes of China, the three of us standing here running for president are all for Taiwan independence. Do you agree? If you agree what we are doing here is to fight for the independence of Taiwan, then are you here to be elected as chief executive? China's desire to swallow up Taiwan is its national policy, as they strive for world hegemony. It's not because of any political party or the relevant candidate or policies. You also cannot stop it by accepting everything China advocates. Do not foolishly allow China to define Taiwan independence. Under the rule of the Democratic Progressive Party, Taiwan independence will lead to war, and war is getting closer and closer to us, and peace is moving further away from us. Under me, Hou You-yi, we will not give in and respect the current status quo, build a trusted relationship and peaceful exchange to ensure stability. Mr. Lai Ching-te, I am different from what you think about me. I abide by the Constitution of the Republic of China, uphold Taiwan's democratic and free system. I oppose one country, two systems, and I oppose Taiwan independence. I hope Taiwan can be a bridge between China and the United States, not a pawn in the confrontation between China and the US. I hope Taiwan is a united and harmonious society, but not a divided place. NBC reported on December 20th that during the US-China summit in November 2023, CCP leader Xi Jinping told US President Joe Biden that Beijing would reunify Taiwan with mainland China. CCP officials also asked Biden before the summit to make a public statement that he didn't support Taiwan's independence. However, the White House rejected the CCP's request. For outsiders, the most obvious threat from Beijing is military intimidation. In November 2023, the CCP military intentionally held at least 4 joint naval and air drills around the area adjacent to Taiwan, which is only about 44 kilometers from Taiwan's coast. Taiwan's defense ministry said on December 8th that 12 Chinese fighter jets and a suspected weather balloon had crossed the Taiwan Strait's sensitive median line. The balloon was detected 101 nautical miles southwest of the northern Taiwanese city of Geelong and traveled eastward for about an hour, crossing the strait before disappearing. We are paying attention to that. Maybe it was blown in our direction due to the monsoon. Our initial understanding is that it was a weather balloon. We will brief everyone on what we know about the surrounding circumstances, which is necessary. Otherwise, once other departments or other countries report on it, we will be questioned why we did not report about it. The Defense Ministry requests all of our units to closely monitor the enemy situation and report all observations. Or war could break out between Taiwan and the CCP. I have seen many online users commenting that the dual separatist team is actually the dual poison team, where poison refers to toxics and harm. Such a dangerous separatist duo from the Democratic Progressive Party will only poison the interests and well-being of the people on the island, poison cross-strait peace and stability, and poison the future and destiny of Taiwan. The DPP authorities' attempt to solicit U.S. support for Taiwan independence is turning Taiwan into an arsenal and an island of explosives. It will only plunge Taiwan into the abyss and bring nothing but disaster to Taiwan compatriots. Taiwan's security depends on peaceful development of cross-strait relations. It is totally unreliable to count on some U.S.-made arms. The PLA will stand ready to firmly safeguard our sovereignty and territorial integrity and firmly safeguard the peace and stability across the Taiwan Strait. For this reason, the KMT vice presidential candidates in the blue camp simply called Lai a terrorist, meaning that Lai would bring about war if he became president. However, the blue camp's vice presidential candidate, who is a red media mogul, made a slip of the tongue from time to time at critical moments for unknown reasons. Prior to this, during the first round of speeches at the vice president's political speech organized by public television, Zhao referred to Sheriff Ho as Lai Ching-TE. He was attacking Vice President Lai while canvassing for votes for Sheriff Ho. His concluding remarks that Lai Ching-TE will definitely be the president in the future and Lai Ching-TE is my boss became a laughingstock.
我跟全国的民众报告，赖清德当选就是总统，他就是老大，就是我的老板。他是我心目中的扫黑英雄。
A month earlier at a campaign rally, Zhao's slip of the tongue was, in next year's election, it's right to vote for the Democratic Progressive Party. The Democratic Progressive Party is Taiwan's incumbent ruling party, the one he challenges. As we previously covered, the coalition of the blue and white camps finally broke down, leaving one of Beijing's most promising schemes, carefully deployed, in ruins. After this, Beijing is anxious that Vice President Lai still has a small lead in the polls. The current economic and financial situation in China is very bad, but that doesn't stop it from trying to influence its voters, such as business and industrial sectors, through economic and trade coercion. China's Ministry of Commerce announced the results of its investigation into Taiwan's trade barriers on December 15, 2023. Concluding that Taiwan's trade restrictive measures against China constitute trade barriers. Taiwan's Ministry of Agriculture responded by stating that more than 200 items were affected, not more than 800 as claimed by the CCP. Taiwan's restrictions on the PRC include products that were originally banned from being imported because of infected areas such as foot and mouth disease, African swine flu, and avian influenza in mainland China, as well as agricultural products that Taiwan doesn't produce in the first place. In the course of the investigation, the Beijing side didn't contact the Taiwan government, which was against the WTO regulations. Immediately on December 21st, the Customs Tariff Commission of the State Council of China announced the suspension of tariff reductions for some products under the Cross-Straits Economic Cooperation Framework Agreement, involving 12 tariff lines of imported products such as propylene and paraxylene. The change will be implemented on New Year's Day 2024. In other words, the tariff reductions for 12 tariff lines of imported products such as propylene and paraxylene originating in Taiwan will be suspended.
一段时间以来，
For a period of time, the DPP administration has been using various excuses and means to obstruct and disrupt cross-strait exchanges and cooperation, which will only compress the room for Taiwan's economic development.
发展空间。
The CCP held a meeting on the work on Taiwan in Beijing in early December 2023, chaired by Huang Yuning, a key figure of the Jiang faction. According to authoritative sources in Taiwan, the meeting's participants included China's Taiwan Affairs Office, United Front Work Department, Central Propaganda Department, Ministry of Commerce, etc. Even China's Ministry of National Defense and Ministry of State Security sent members to attend. The meeting set out a strategy that required everything to not be perceived as election interference. It's not ferocious but will intimidate the Taiwanese. The meeting also called for the division of labor among the various ministries to ensure effective coordination and at the same time minimize the chance of the international community finding concrete evidence of the CCP's interference in the election. Among them, the local Internet Information Offices under the Central Propaganda Department and the Fuzhou 311 base, the main unit of the PLA's Strategic Support Force, are responsible for cognizant operations and coordinating media access to Taiwan. Specifically, these include inviting Taiwanese media groups to China for exchanges and reproducing Taiwan's news clips into short videos for online dissemination. The Taiwan Affairs Office and the United Front Work Department are responsible for grassroots lures, including targeting local leaders and other United Front Work subjects in Taiwan, inviting them to China for exchanges and providing them with discounted tours, as well as contacting Taiwanese business groups and providing them with discounted air tickets to encourage Taiwanese businessmen and Taiwanese working in China to return to Taiwan to vote. Many towns and villages in Taiwan have what is known as teaming up with China, whereby a Chinese province or municipality or place adopts a Taiwanese town or village and not only visits each other, but also uses the CCP-controlled social media app WeChat to contact each other. Indeed, many Taiwan grassroots personnel were taken to China to travel and treated with great hospitality. After visiting a variety of places with so-called positive energy, they felt that Red China wasn't bad and was even friendly. In short, we are all Chinese descendants. People from Taiwan and the mainland are all Chinese. So we must all seek our roots, as that is where our home is. On the internet, a large number of CCP online forces have been mobilized to ask Taiwanese to choose between peace and war. For example, the Investigation Bureau of the Ministry of Justice of Taiwan issued a press release on December 20th, pointing out that the information security workstations had discovered a number of Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube accounts that couldn't be identified by their real identities or nationalities. These accounts posted AI-created videos that spread and manipulated false information on multiple levels. These include, CHING-TE has been rumored to have 3 mistresses online, turning Taiwan into the next battlefield, and so on. Through a large number of accounts, the fake message was liked, commented, and shared in order to create a buzz and spread to at least 80 Taiwanese Facebook communities, covering different categories such as lifestyle, entertainment, localities, and religions. Taiwanese people mistakenly believe the fake messages and then forward and share them to their personal pages or other communities, causing the fake message to spread. In addition, there are also highly influential red media and pro-communist celebrities in Taiwan. They usually use blue camp garb to conceal red content. In addition to the CCP-manipulated theme of war and peace, they are also aligned with another theme driven by the CCP, namely the malpractices of the DPP's administration. The malpractices of governance include suspicion of corruption in the DPP government and speculation on the plight of people's livelihood in Taiwan, and so on. Under such an operation, housing justice has become a hot slogan in this election. In other words, Taiwan's housing prices are rising year after year, making it difficult for young people to buy a home. This is because young people's votes are the key swing votes in this election. Under this slogan, the blue and white candidates and related media, celebrities, and netizens have been unanimously attacking Vice President Lai's so-called illegal structures in his hometown from early October until now. The media called it a mansion and labeled Lai Ching-TE, who refused to knock down his old house, as shameless. Lai's father, a 33-year-old miner, was killed in a mining accident when Lai was very young. Lai's hometown was home to more than 50 mines 60 years ago. Back then, mining land could legally be used to build offices and miners' huts. Later, the mining industry was terminated, but the government failed to carry out any change of land use, resulting in the existing huts being unable to apply for building licenses. Generations of miners, when they can, renovate and remodel their huts, but almost none of them is able to obtain land ownership certificates. Lai's old house is a legal hut, but because the government hasn't changed the land use after the mining industry was terminated, there is no way to apply for a new legal building license. This old home of less than 30 square meters is worth only $29,000 to date. Under the attack of the blue camp and the white camp, tens of thousands of miners and their descendants in Taiwan are very worried that their houses will be recognized as illegal structures and demolished. Lai Ching-TE said in his political speech on December 20th that he would entrust his old house to the Public Welfare Trust in the future, hoping to use the house as a memorial to the life of the miners. When Lai returned to his hometown, he was saddened by the scenery and burst into tears. He was, however, mocked and ridiculed by the blue and white camp candidates and the media of the relevant camps. As the election entered the second half of December, it was suddenly revealed that Sheriff Ho and Dr. Kerr also had land-related problems. The wife of Sheriff Ho owns a piece of land that, according to regulations, can only be used as a residential complex, not a boarding house. But Ho evaded the regulations by claiming that each household in the building had its own plumbing, electricity, and door number. The building was initially rented out as a dormitory for a university. After renovation, it continued to be rented out to students. Not only did the number of units increase from 99 to 103, but the monthly rent was also raised to a minimum of $500. If fully rented, the monthly rent can be as high as $53,000 US per month. Students said that compared to the neighboring areas, this rent is beyond the affordability of the average student. Sheriff Ho's response was that it was a legal structure, not an illegal structure. Then it was revealed that Dr. Kerr had purchased a piece of agricultural land in 2008. Shortly thereafter, it was built into a parking lot illegally, including the parking of large-sized tour buses and so on. This is equivalent to 15 years of illegal rent collection. Underneath the excavated concrete floor, as seen by the media, is a mixture of mud, soil, sand, and stones, and a small amount of reinforcing steel and a few concrete blocks. Some analysts believe that the rents received are petty cash, and once the agricultural land is successfully converted into building land, only then land will be turned into gold, and that is the real purpose of keeping agricultural land. Dr. Kerr responded with ease, saying that he would do what he had to do and pay tax when he had to, and that he would not be shameless. It can be said that the CCP intervenes in the general election with many tricks, and this episode only reveals some of them. The reason why Beijing is worried about the Taiwan system is because it's worried about what the CCP will do if the DPP stays in power. Especially now that China's internal situation is poor, Beijing very much needs to succeed in interfering in this election in Taiwan, so as to enhance the legitimacy of the Xi regime. The CCP is trying to influence Taiwan's internal politics. In fact, it has been doing so all the time. The CCP's involvement in Taiwan's politics is not just about elections, it's about creating division and rivalries in Taiwan, leading to chaos and democracy. The following is cautionary advice given by a university professor in Taiwan to the people of Taiwan, which we think is very reasonable. I would like to make a special reminder. One is the media, the major broadcast media in Taiwan. Is it based on the principle of journalism, or is it that your economic interests and political party interests are more important than national security? This is the first point. Secondly, we receive countless messages from our friends every day. Think carefully about if the information itself is accurate or not, reliable or not, and biased or not. Is it biased? Is it a smear campaign or a character assassination campaign? If you have any doubt, stop spreading them. Rumors stop when they reach the wise. Don't spread them. Thirdly, local radio station managers, I would like to remind you where you get your money from. Where do you get the money from? What have they asked you to do at the critical time? Think about it. Is this a good thing for Taiwan? Is it good for the city you love? Also, there are temple administrators, the community elders, etc. We've talked about this before. Also, I would like to talk to the entertainers in particular. Many entertainers have gone to mainland China to make money, and I can't say anything about that, but I hope that you will be clear about where you stand. Today, you make a little bit of money to advocate for the CCP. Tomorrow, when Taiwan is finally destroyed, you will have nothing. You can make money in China today because you have Taiwan behind you. Without Taiwan among the billions of people in China, do you think you are outstanding? Do you think you are better than them? If it were not for your Taiwanese background, would you be able to gain the benefits you have now? Finally, those celebrities and web celebrities, we have to be careful whether what we say is correct and responsible. Are we saying the wrong thing or saying too much for the sake of helping whatever party? The blue camp and the green camp should remind each other that we are opponents within the Constitution, while the red camp, that is, the Chinese Communist Party, is destroying the democratic and constitutional government. It's the enemy of the Constitution. We Taiwanese should be clear about this. 习近平讲英文，然后